Roads? It's the Ernest Hancock Show. Where we're going, there aren't any roads.
Declare your independence of me, Ernest Hancock, each and every day on LRN.FM network from Phoenix, Arizona, in the beautiful studios of Freedoms with an S, freedomsphoenix.com. You know, I want to make sure that you are paying attention to this. You need to share this with everybody you know and love, and maybe some people you don't like, because this is going to be the future, whether we like it or not. The more autonomous we can be, and it's more than that. It's not autonomy and just being able to create food and all. It's the knowledge to be able to. You know, when my children have 4 children, 2 boys, 2 girls, 21, 25, and I'll tell you, I kept telling them, I'm going, yeah, there's a lot of things I see in the future and how and blah, 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 bottom line. You better know how to drive a nail. You better know how to use a saw. You better know how to lay some brick. Because if you don't have just basic, I get to survive and thrive skills, you're going to be the guy standing at Home Depot staring at the thing looking for a guy in an orange jacket, because this is going to be a interesting times. I was just telling my daughter, you know, I'm the producer, Sierra, I go, you know, Sierra, you guys are growing up in interesting times. This is going to be and some people have blazed the trail. And some people that I'm glad that we're able to introduce to you, Danielle and Dennis, we were talking about, you went from what originally was the concept of hydroponics, and it went to aquaponics. But go ahead and tell me why you were doing hydroponics and why you just didn't do like square foot gardening in your pool and just throw some dirt in there. And you went to hydroponics, and what kind of chemicals did you need to do that? And then how it evolved into aquaponics. Go ahead and review that for us.
Okay. Basically, we started in container gardening, you know, in buckets, and we had buckets everywhere. And which is fine. It works real well in the nice weather in Arizona. But once it gets hot, you'll be watering all the time. And as we watered, all the water would drain down to the bottom of the pool, and we'd have to haul it back out. So we decided to go to hydroponics because we knew we wouldn't have to water, and we knew we would actually get, you know, faster yield and it'd be more productive, and we thought that'd be great, help minimize our space. And it worked fine. You know, for a few months it was great, but we got tired of one thing, draining the water, because every 2 weeks you have to basically dump all your water out. And add new water with new chemicals, and you have to purchase the chemicals.
Tell us about these chemicals. What kind of chemicals are? Where do you get them? What was in it? What did they do? What are the benefits or disadvantages of them?
Well, you know, it's actually really great. It's you know, it's better. You get better plant results than, you know, your typical gardening, because it has everything the plant needs. You know, the nitrogen, the phosphorus, everything.
Electrolytes. No, that's an idiocracy thing. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, everything it needs, but, you know, it's made by man. You have to be a chemist to make your own. There are some organic, you know, hydroponic supplies. We actually still shop at the local hydroponic shop. It has very hard to find parts and all that type of stuff. But so we had to go local. But, you know, the expense, and really it's not a self-sustaining solution, because you're, you know, chained to the store. You have to keep going back every couple of weeks, and you're wasting water too. So we did some research, looking on Google, looking for a solution, and we also had to find a solution about the water at the bottom of our pool, because we kept hauling that out because everything would leak and run down there. So
I want to, before we get into aquaponics, which we got plenty of time, but I want to make sure we exhaust this hydroponic thing, because I've always known that this exists. I mean, hydroponics, you can you just put it in sand or whatever, and you just give it the nutrients, everything a plant needs. There was a movie called Idiocracy. You know, it's a long story, but a guy goes into the future, and he finds out that the problem is that they were adding electrolytes, just what a plant needs, and everything's dying and so on. I mean, is there an accumulation of these chemicals that eventually would be detrimental to it? Have they perfected the hydroponics? Do they know, what they're doing? Because we're talking about space travel and stuff too. Are you such a closed system that are hydroponics even possible to take and go into space orbit? Is it that complete? Or are you always having to use some kind of resource here on Earth that you're going to need to keep adding to it? What is a component that really makes hydroponics work?
Well, the component is the nutrient solution, which you have to have, made. It has to be manufactured. I haven't seen yet a nutrient solution that you can produce at your home that's a complete nutrient solution. So you need a supply of this. And it's a funny question, about spaces. They actually do use hydroponics in space on the space stations, growing with LEDs. NASA helped perfect that technology, but I had, interest from people, believe it or not, interested in going to the moon contact me, because our system is actually self-sustaining for a long time. Once it gets going, it keeps going. So to us, hydroponics was a temporary solution, and it taught us a lot about growing without soil. So we've seen the benefits, and we liked it, but we just needed a better way that we wouldn't have to go to a store, a couple times a month to get our solution.
Okay, agreed. So now you come and you say, all right, this is getting old. I'm tired of having, a receipt to the man over here. Plus it has, the man gets their taxes and all that kind of stuff. So we're going to try and see if we can get even more autonomous. There may not be a store that has hydroponics out in the Lone Prairie or the space station, fill in the blank. So then you start doing some research, and what did you come across?
We come across aquaponics, and what basically aquaponics is instead of using a nutrient solution, you use water that you raise fish in, fish water. And it's very similar to hydroponics. In fact, you can use the components very interchangeably. But the big thing is you raise fish and you take care of the fish, and the fish waste feeds the plants. So the nice thing is you don't have to dump the water out every couple of weeks. You don't have to add chemicals every couple of weeks. And you get fish, too.
And, in fact, you're trying to avoid chemicals because you'd be killing fish, I would imagine.
Oh, absolutely. You have to be 100% organic with aquaponics because fish are very susceptible to poison damage. And the nice thing is we don't have to worry about heavy metals, too, mercury and that stuff, because we know exactly what's in our water. We put the water in there ourselves. We know there's no chemicals in there. So it's going great once we get that going. And it takes a little while to actually, for the nutrients to get going from the fish waste. So we have bacteria growing. We have a lot of critters in there. We have earthworms, snails. It's very biological. It's very living.
Well, one of the other things that was interesting, as you're prepping for the fish, this is where the chickens got involved, is that they had some of the preparations for the fish to be able to start growing the algae. What was suggested that you do, and how did the chickens get involved?
Well, like I said, we wanted to have it biological, so we want to have a real living pond. And when studying pond culture, we read that, they recommended putting lots of chicken manure, like 6 inches of chicken manure down in there in the pond before you add the fish to get the algae growing. Because
6 inches? Oh, my goodness, man. How did you even get 6 inches of chicken manure?
Well, we thought about that. We thought, where are we going to get chicken manure, for one thing? And we like chickens. I actually had some chickens. My mom had chickens. My wife grew up with chickens. And we thought, why not? We'll have some chickens. So what we did is we put the chickens, the roost is above the pond area, above the deep end of our pool. So what happens is the chickens roost up there, they lay their eggs, and their waste goes into our pool, which feeds the algae, and that algae feeds our fish.
Wow. So we got chickens, like chicken wire, they roost. Because I have chickens, so I know what you mean. When the sun hits the horizon, boom, they're up on, like a 2-inch wood dowel rod, something. They're on a branch. They're down for the night. And they get up there, and then they just poop, all night, I guess. And it's going right through the chicken wire directly into the deep end of your pool, something like that, right?
Yeah. And the nice thing is we don't have to worry about running out of nutrients for the algae. We don't have to clean our chicken coop. We don't have to worry about salmonella because that happens when your eggs sit in the chicken waste, and we don't have that problem at all. So it's worked out. It's been been a great success for us.
Okay, we're starting to close the system. You're starting to see how this is going, and it's just been development by an innovative, creative individual that had some experience. His wife grew up with chickens too. You see, do you got chickens? Do you? You might need to get some because they're easy. And it's always nice just to have some eggs. Fresh, nice, plump, bright, yellow, high. You put it next to, I get every day, you put a chicken egg opened up next to a industrial chicken egg, not even the same thing. Oh, we're getting in more detail. Next hour, we're going to get some nitty gritty. Get out your notepad, gardenpool.org. We'll be right back. Uncovering the secrets and exposing the lies. That's what readers of freedomsphoenix.com get every day. Readers of freedomsphoenix.com are constantly provided the information that detail the real news between the lines of propaganda about government policies and the true relationship we all have with coercive governments. Learn the true condition of our economy, innovations and technological breakthroughs in energy, health, computer science, and space travel. Learn the truth well before it's admitted to in the lamestream media, the media that is so last century. Corporate media has evolved into nothing more than distributors of government propaganda, but we now have a fantastic alternative. FreedomsPhoenix.com provides constant news updates on the issues that affect our lives in the most important ways. Our liberty and our property are under constant attack, and FreedomsPhoenix.com provides the understanding behind the propaganda while encouraging the participation of our readers. Join us at FreedomsPhoenix.com. That's freedoms with an S, Phoenix.com. FreedomsPhoenix.com, where the revolution between the ears has already matured.